Welcome back, dear listeners. What you've just heard is a snippet from Your Delicious Nightmares. That was last episode where Steve got a drubbing from Cedric and myself. It was painful. We decided no more categories. That was the outcome of that one. No. To move swiftly on, today in the attic we have Taylor Wilson, who is our first professional musician. She's a chanteuse extraordinaire. I've enjoyed seeing her in many shows, whether it's singing Shakespeare or Edith Piaf or singing in German, Italian, Gaelic. You're also a teacher and a voice specialist.
Oh, stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah, it's just really, really impressive. And I can see Steve's boots quaking a bit.
Yeah.
So I am sandwiched in between these two gentlemen who are looking at me expectantly. Yeah, so I have a hybrid career, and teaching or enabling voices was never a second option. It's something that I feel is somewhat of a calling. I have loved doing both. I'm going to keep doing this as long as people pay to come and see me. So yeah, whether it's me telling my story through song or enabling someone else to go into a room and tell their story, that brings me much joy. You know, I kind of liken it to an engine working well, that it's well oiled. You know, that the WD-40 is in the right place. And that's kind of how I approach teaching and enabling. You know, it's kind of the whole body. It's not just the voice. You know, when you can unlock the body or any unwanted tension, that engine will purr. So I'm looking forward to hearing you purring.
You're sort of setting me up for a big fall here, I suspect, but yes.
And you use a really interesting teaching technique or singing technique. Do you want to maybe touch on that? Because
Sure.
What I discovered is that a lot of singing teaching is really done by the seat of the pants, whereas this system is actually based on science.
Yeah, exactly. It's something that came onto my radar 15 or so years ago, and so that scientific model, it's an amazing tool to enable a person to understand how the voice works and how they can harness that with their artistic intention to then create sound that they'll know what's going to come out.
What's it called?
It's called S-Still voice training.
S-Still voice training. Okay.
And so it S-Still instills a confidence and removes an anxiety of what will come out, because you know what you're doing. You understand the how of the voice. And I came to it from having a history, in my 20s, of vocal damage, and finding this model has literally transformed my career as singer and teacher, because I can enable change sometimes in a matter of seconds or minutes. So it's incredibly empowering for me and for the person learning. And the light bulb moments that happen are just a joyous thing to witness.
Though that's all very exciting. I'm looking forward to hearing is whether there's tips that you can give Steve so that the next episode...
Well, beyond double tracking my voice to paper over the cracks. Hopefully.
If I can help you on that journey, I'm a happy lady.
For your entertainment and vocal critique, I present the curiously titled Toodle-oo.
Thought you'd take me to higher ground, but you just showed me round the town, and then you left me at lost and found. It was all a masquerade, and the promise that you made went flat like my cherry aid. You put me down, and I'm not gonna stay around. Toodle-oo, toodle-oo, yeah. Toodle-oo, toodle-oo, yeah. It's sad I never knew when you said you'd help me through. It was only helping you. And when you kissed me on the just to show I'm weak, and to think before I speak. You put me down, and I'm not gonna stay around. Toodle-oo, toodle-oo, yeah. Toodle-oo, toodle-oo, yeah. How many times have I picked myself off the floor and walked myself out the door? Guess you know. Now I can see that the problem wasn't with me, that I just need to break free and just go, and just go. Could only ever be food for your vanity, so I'm better off just me. Now I'm sitting in my chair and I'm breathing fresher air, as if you were never there. You put me down, gonna stay around. Toodle-oo, toodle-oo, yeah. Toodle-oo, toodle-oo, yeah. Toodle-oo, toodle-oo, yeah. Toodle-oo, toodle-oo, yeah.
Awesome. I really enjoyed that.
Good.
That was really good.
So, I don't think there's been a song with Toodle-oo in, but maybe on the stage there might be. So hopefully the lyric is fairly original. It's actually about misogyny, so it's maybe not really appropriate for a guy to sing it, but yeah. The only other point to bring out about it is the solo. I ended up going with the sort of the Barry White strings, but previously I think I had trumpets and guitars and tried all sorts of different types of solo, but I just sort of went for the 80s sort of almost like disco. Oh no, I've mentioned a genre, but you know, it's not a disco song. It's not a disco song. Or let's be clear. I think that's probably all I want to say about it until I give my score.
Taylor,
is it my turn? Oh,
well, yeah. I mean, if you're ready, have you digested, or do you want to hear it some more?
No.
Can I just say that it's the first time we've ever had someone taking notes during the actual playing of the song.
Well, my dear,
professional stuff.
My dears, you bring on a pro. The pro must act appropriately. So sorry. Yeah, I did make copious notes.
So what do you think then?
What do we think, James?
I really liked it. I think it's one of your most accomplished pieces to date. It's nice to feel that whether it was just inspired or you're standing on the shoulders of all the previous episodes, but yeah, there's a great hook in the chorus there. It's I'm looking forward to hearing it again. Maybe, I mean, you can't unhear the free MIDI library after Cedric kind of called it out.
Cedric basically blew that out the water.
He did. I can't unhear it now.
And for me, even if I hadn't heard that episode, yeah, that's something that slightly bothers my ears sometimes. But it depends on the range, or the range sometimes of the sounds that you're using, that they can sound quite good in a certain range.
Yeah.
And at other times, it's slightly bothersome. But we are talking a demo at the moment, aren't we?
Absolutely.
When you make that Bangerama, you're bringing in a string ensemble. And if you're not, I'll get you some nice players.
I can play the bagpipes.
No. These strings have something. They've got real potential. I love that section, the middle eight. I really liked it overall. For me, the word Toodle-oo, I think it's going to conjure up a different emotional connection with the word Toodle-oo. I personally don't like the word Toodle-oo. It's frivolous. So for me, there's a slight dichotomy in the subject matter between this frivolous word Toodle-oo and the breakup. And that, but remember, it's so subjective, both the voice and writing. So this isn't just my opinion. So that kind of up-tempo beat is quite incongruous to the subject matter. But we know here there's plenty of songs that have that kind of ironic approach. So aside from the word Toodle-oo,
I want to just sort of jump in on that. If you spoke to my son, and when I mention Toodle-oo to him, he has exactly the same reaction.
Mm-hmm.
He just goes, it's like a, you know,
it's almost, or it's like cheery bye.
Yeah.
Or ta-ta for now. It's of those ilk. So
it is supposed to be ironic in that it's giving the impression that that person doesn't care. They're trying to demonstrate they don't care and maybe demonstrate too much in their frivolity. You see what I mean?
That really answers that. And then when you're not being frivolous, and we're getting into, say, verse 2 and the middle 8, is that when you feel you speak your truth?
Yeah. But basically,
well then, because you answered that, I'm going to go in for the kill.
Oh no.
Yeah, you came right into that trap. All right, then if that's the case,
hang on, I didn't sign up to this,
Steve. If that's the case, your voice and your love of doubling,
yes,
is fine when it's up tempo or you're being frivolous or nonchalant.
So in the Toodle-oo,
it works.
Genuine.
The doubling will work for me, but if you're going to be sad and we're going to change the key, not that the key, we went to a more minor section. If we're going to have that contrast, I want to hear it in your voice.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there.
And that's where I want the truth to come out, and you don't need to double.
Single voice.
Single voice. Expose yourself, and through exposure, you will see vulnerability and a flawed character.
Yeah.
And that, I feel, would get to your truth. Not even talking about any vocal techniques or things I would suggest.
Okay, yeah.
And also when you're singing, if we were speaking these lyrics, whomever's going to be listening, just for a moment, I'm going to get Steve to do something, like a bite-sized lesson. Steve, would you read verse 2, which is one of the sad verses? Just read it, even a couple of lines.
It's sad I never knew. When you said you'd help me through, it was only helping you. And when you kissed me on the cheek, it was just to show I'm weak.
Thanks. But do it again and don't try and rhyme. Just say it, fluidly, as if you were saying it to me, to the person who's broken up with you. Yeah?
It's sad I never knew when you said you'd help me through, it was only helping you. And when you kissed me on the cheek, it was just to show I'm weak and not to think before
I speak. Okay, so when you say it with a truth that has an emphasis on certain words that are the important words. And when you sing, every word has equal importance. So I would encourage you to think about your lyrics, what's important, and bear that in mind when you sing. Otherwise, everything becomes of a similar weight, and then it doesn't have the same truth. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it absolutely makes sense.
So that's why I want to encourage, because
it's not what I'm thinking about when I'm singing. I'm trying to hold a tune.
No, you can hold a tune. Your pitch is fine.
But I don't go beyond that.
No, and I would encourage you to dare to go further, because for me, if you're wanting to create a Bangerama, I think you also have to prioritise more your singing voice, and before you start singing, what am I singing about here? And what's my truth? And I think that subtlety will also come in and infuse the tone of your voice.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Might get at some depth, and that'll be a subtle shift.
Right. Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Taylor, do you feel that there was aspects of a banger in there?
I do. I actually think there is some potential. Change the word Toodle-oo, we're great.
No.
Okay.
What would you
yeah.
say? What would you say?
I
How would
know,
you
I think
replace
there's-
that with Glaswegian? What would be the Glaswegian
Well,
equivalent of Toodle-oo?
I think I need
On
to
your way.
ponder a pont, because ultimately you are singing your own accent. So I don't know. Bringing out the strong elements. I really like the middle eight. I do like your lyrics. I think this could build more from the middle eight.
Yeah.
Could definitely build more in the outro, the chorus, and the ending for me. I'm sorry, it slightly spoiled the whole piece. You finished on a cha chord, which I'm going to say the word, and I'm sorry, it was cheesy. It was a cheesy last chord.
Cheesy last chord.
So we
Right,
can
okay.
revisit that. But it was toodle toodle oh yeah, da, and it just kind of, I was abruptly, I was taken out of the slight reverie I had kind of entered listening to the whole piece. It brought me up short. I want to be able to ruminate upon the song, or just sit with that feeling of it,
Okay.
what you've created, and it just went, "Wah." I've done that a few times. I think I've demonstrated that. Sorry. So I think there is potential here with a bit of reworking.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, my feelings exactly. I'm going to jump right in and give it a 4.5.
Goodness
This
gracious.
is my highest score so far.
For me, as it's sitting just now, I think I'd give it a 4.
Right. Okay.
Well, that's still good.
That's still good. Yeah.
And I think it's got some great elements and some that need to be revisited. And, you know, as the voice coach, I've already given you a few ideas of just what to think about. But I think, you know, you've said in the last episode or maybe several before that, you know, that you know your voice, it has some limitations. But by saying that, you're actually limiting yourself with that belief. In my view, a song is a monologue with music. And that's just my take on it. It's a monologue with music, and coming at it, taking the whole music aspect away, and just sitting with the words, and then taking that to the microphone. When I'm working with people, it's an
when
approach.
you're singing, is that one
It's an
approach
approach I
you
take.
You look at the words first, and then
Definitely.
say, I'm going to
Well,
add the
for
tune
me,
later.
if I don't know really what I'm singing about, who I'm singing to, I have no raison d'être to sing. I need an intention. And if you're thinking, I'm coming up to that mic and I just want to sing, and I don't know what your thought process is. Is it to get it done?
Pretty well.
Then it's going. then that's. I want to encourage just a process.
That's limiting it. Yeah. Of course
Encourage.
it is, yeah.
You know, I'd encourage you to look at the words, even with once you've created the accompaniment. Speaking over it, and that takes away the anxiety of the pitching until you're so familiar with how you want
Okay.
to do it.
Yeah.
And then that's a process. It's just a puzzle, and people tend to run to the last process
Yeah.
without anything being in place. And who am I singing to? What am I singing about? And may I ask, when you get to a mic, we're talking about dynamic voicing here. We're chatting just now. But when I act or sing, it's dynamic. So what's your body doing? If you wanted to get angry in that last section, were you moving at the mic? Because if you're more static, Steve, you're not serving your voice.
That is probably something I do. I actually sort of point and stuff.
Great.
But it's not Westlife-y point. It's actually for this song anyway.
Yeah.
It's more sort of
Yeah.
serious finger pointing. But
Yeah.
I do that. I never know
Good.
why. I never really realise why I'm doing that. I never really think about it. But
Because
I do.
all the muscles that are leading towards your larynx, I call it mecca, or your temple, all the muscles leading towards it, if they are tense, your voice will be tense.
Right.
So I'd really encourage some pointing, some attitude head, get the body moving. And the engine.
That pelvic thrusting.
Yeah, whatever you
Oh
need
yeah, I
to
do that. I obviously do that.
But keep it going, especially on long notes and high notes.
Right, good. Thank you.
Steve, what's your score? What do you how do you feel about this track?
I thought it was pretty close, and probably the closest to a banger I've done to date. So I think I've previously scored something at 4.5. I would definitely give this 4.5.
What are your takeaways for next month?
My takeaways. So I've already done the first demo of the next song, which is a little bit more sort of mellow. So certainly I'll redo the vocal track for that to incorporate some of the things that Taylor's been talking about today. The ending, I think it was a valid point. I don't really think too much about the endings, and I shouldn't ignore how a song ends. I really just try and get everything to around about 3:30 time-wise, so I need to consider that and the sort of mood that I'm wanting to convey. There should be ample opportunity to build what we've talked about today into the next song, because it's certainly not completed yet.
Taylor, thanks for bringing your wisdom and shining all of your knowledge on us here.
Well, it's always just an opinion, and that opinions are subjective.
It'd be nice to know a little bit more. Could you tell us what your website is and how people can get in touch with you?
Of course. So it's tailored, Taylord, tailoredvoice.co.uk, and the other platforms such as LinkedIn, which is aiming more at the corporate business sectors. Mm-hmm. It's called Tailored Voice Coaching, and it's the same for Facebook and Insta.
Wonderful. Thanks again, Taylor, for your time.
Thank you so much.
And Steve, thanks
you,
for being brave and producing. I'm always amazed at how you're able each month to produce another original piece of art.
Yeah, it may not last, of course, but it's going okay at the moment. I'm sort of staying ahead of the curve, so that's fine. A particular thank you to Taylor. From my point of view, it's been a revelation having you here, and hopefully I can do it all justice.
It was my pleasure. Thank you so much. And when that Bangerama does happen, you know the vocal coach you'll be flying around the world with.
Will be you, yes.
Marvellous.
Well, in the meantime, Toodle-oo!
Toodle-oo!
Good encore song, isn't it? Toodle-oo.
On your bike.
Definitely.
I think you should change it to on your bike.
You put me down, and I'm not gonna stay around.